Good afternoon. Welcome back to Inside the Distance. Don't forget, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Lots of you are watching and liking, but not subscribing, so please subscribe. I watched an interview from last night, I believe, Ade Oladipo with Turki Alalshikh. It was quite a revealing interview, actually. First off, I said yesterday about the name for the Joshua Ngannou fight, the fight or the night has been billed as Knockout Chaos. And I said, what a terrible name it was. It sounds like an 80s sort of boxing game, sort of arcade game from the 80s. And it turns out there's a preview that's going to come out, I believe, tomorrow. And if you remember, if you're of an age and you remember the arcade game Street Fighter, they're going to do a promo based on that. So actually, it turns out that name was very apt, and I read into it exactly what it's meant to read as. It's meant to reference an arcade game. So, oh, you know what I mean? And it was Mr. Al-Sheikh himself that come up with that name. So it fits perfectly, and that's what it's meant to signify. So I'll let that one go. He went on to say, like, how much of a boxing fan he was, and sort of, Ade asked him who his favourite fighters were, and Ade went through a list of the obvious ones, your Tysons, your Alis, your Mayweather, your Pacquiao's and so on. And it turns out that Mr. Sheikh's, is that right to address him? No, I don't know. But it turns out his favourite fighters were Larry Holmes and Roberto Duran. So, he's obviously a fan, isn't he, to a degree? You can't knock that. And the fact that he is genuinely a fan, I've heard a lot of people sort of talk about that. They won't be in boxing very long. It will be a come and go type of a fad. But he genuinely seems like a genuine, legit boxing fan. I mean, he also went on to say that he won't be doing YouTube stuff. He's not interested in that. That is a thing, a separate entity, but he wasn't personally interested in doing that. He also went on to sort of talk about what we all know, that the fight he kind of wants next outside the heavyweight division was Bill v. Beterbiev, which almost seems like a done deal almost. And that's what he wants. That's the next fight he wants to see. So again, who are we to argue? I mean, I made a video a while ago, not so long ago, about the Joshua Ngannou fight. And I was kind of upset with the fact that fight was going ahead. And I still think from a, politically, from a boxing stance, you can argue that's wrong, because you can argue, and as I did, that is he deserving of a second crack at an elite level heavyweight after one loss, one defeat? But, when you look at boxing and you think that, all right, the better routes to go, and the route that Joshua and her said they want to go was the Hrgovic route, in all honesty, and you are going to get fighters who have gone through the rankings, they've gone through the traditional process of the amateur career, and they may be 25, 30 fights as a pro, working their way up in whatever organisations, governing bodies, rankings they have done. But in terms of, go back to, say, Joshua Hrgovic, who do I, and I also said that I wondered why, other than the bag, or the large amount of various bags he was going to get for fighting Ngannou, I said I didn't understand why he was going that way other than for the money, because all we'd heard about was that Joshua wanted to become three-time heavyweight champion of the world. And then now the plan that's been made evident is they want the winner of Joshua Ngannou to fight the winner of Fury Usyk. So now it makes it all clear. Not only are you getting the bag, but you're also getting your next fight is, going to be against whoever wins that fight for undisputed. So now I get it. Now, which one is politically more correct? Joshua going the Hrgovic route, or Joshua going Ngannou, and then if he wins, fighting the winner of undisputed? You can argue that all day long, but ask me which one I want to see. If there are two TVs in front of me, what one would I rather watch? Joshua Hrgovic or Joshua Ngannou? I'd have to say Joshua Ngannou. I would. So if this... Now, I saw later on in the afternoon today, I saw an interview with Frank Warren where Frank Warren was posed the question, does he want to see it go that way? Does he want to see Joshua fight the winner of the undisputed fight next? To which Frank replied, no, it's too soon. I'd rather see him fight the winner of Zhang v. Parker. and he thinks Zhang is more deserving of the shot. Now, and then it was sort of mentioned that Lennox Lewis had come out and said that Lennox Lewis thinks that Zhang should get the shot, or again the winner of Zhang Parker. Now, for a sport that left the moral high ground a long way back, any morality boxing had left years ago, but now the Saudis have stepped in. Suddenly, boxing wants to reclaim back the moral high ground. So, oh no, that's wrong. The more deserved opponent is this. Well, that just made me laugh a little bit. For a sport that, and Frank Warren, we can talk about, what sort of fights he's made and not made in the past, and now Frank wants to take the moral high ground and kind of say this isn't really right. Joshua isn't really deserving of that shot. When in my opinion he is. Is it? Is Zhang any more deserving of the shot than Joshua? I don't know. Is he not? Possibly not for me. But it just, it just made me laugh a little bit. But yeah, I don't know what you think. Maybe this is what's needed. With the consistent crumbling of any ethics that the WBC has, they'll give out new titles and make new belts for no apparent reason, for silly titles. And, there are not many organisations, not many governing bodies left with any credibility. So maybe we need a way with them. Maybe we need to maybe it'll be a good thing. Maybe the governing bodies need to be eradicated, because the belts don't signify who the best fighter in the division is. Very, very seldom is that the case, that the guy holding the belt is the undisputed champion and the guy that fans think is the number one in the division. That doesn't happen all the time. So maybe boxing needs this. Maybe a rethink is needed, because, the WBC was always the most traditional, the most prestigious, the famous green belt. But right now, the WBC's credibility is on the floor. So do we even need them in the game anymore? Titles are really only relevant now to TV companies, to give it to help sell an event. A world heavyweight title fight is more sellable than a heavyweight fight, just the way it is. Do they need to go? Is this a good thing? And then will this make fighters now realise that in today's world, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever way you want to look at it, you have to create a public profile. Being a good fighter now, or being an elite fighter, isn't enough in a lot of cases, especially at the lower weights. Maybe it'll make fighters know that now, right, to fight at that next level, to get on those Saudi cards, not only have I got to be a legit world-class fighter, but I've got to be appealing, I've got to be sellable, I've got to be a personality, I've got to have appeal to the larger market. Would that make the sport a better place? Possibly. Would it make the quality better? Possibly. The fact that Saudi are now just going to make fights that we want to see, but fights that also lead to a definitive champion, is that a bad thing? Is that what boxing needs? And I don't want to go down the politics that surround themselves with Saudi, and the politics that some people are, feel relevant and should be talked about. I don't have a politics channel. Maybe that's to come, and maybe we'll discuss those issues there. But this is predominantly a boxing channel, so I want to leave the politics aside. But from a pure boxing point of view, this is certainly equal parts good as it is bad, isn't it? And if not, maybe the direction it's going is a direction we need, and is a direction that would overall be better for the sport. I don't know. We had an announcement of another Magnificent Seven card today. I'll look into that more sort of intricately when I've had time. There is a sort of a whispering of Callum Smith versus Callum Smith versus Anthony Yarde, which I think that's a great fight. I'm a massive Anthony Yarde fan. I think on his day, Anthony Yarde is a fantastic fight, but I think that's a great match for both. That's a great fight that in the offing. I'll probably do, if I get time, I'll do a bit of build up for the Michaela Meyer versus Natasha Jonas. Big Natasha Jonas fan. I think she's great. I think she's a great personality, great girl, and a really good fighter. So we'll have a look at that, at least in brief. We'll try to before it comes around. If there's any other boxing related sort of subjects you want to talk about, or any other thing you'd like me to cover or want to sort of broach, feel free to let me know in the comments. But that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. See you all soon. As I said, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Just on the bell, subscribe. Easy. Not a problem.